Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of One Piece Madness. This is me, your host, Hussein, the One Piece uncle, joined by your co host, Hatem, the One Piece dada. How are you, my guy? It's been a minute.
It's been a week.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
That's a minute for us.
Yeah, this mic is mad annoying. I'm just going to keep playing with it throughout the chapter. But anyway, this this got a bit delayed because life came in the way, unfortunately. So hopefully this isn't too late because I know the spoilers for 1066 are already out. So
Really? I never checked the spoilers actually, so I don't really look too in deep. I never look at spoilers. I just read the chapters.
I never look at them either, but I know there are like content creators who cover spoilers. So I've already seen I've seen like their YouTube videos out just covering the spoilers, but I haven't watched it yet, so I have no idea what's gonna happen. Anyway, this chapter again, just back to back craziness. Oda is not taking a break in terms of pacing at all. He's just going balls deep, just straight in. Uh, what do you think about the film red artwork? I kind of like it.
I think the film red artwork's pretty cool. I mean, I haven't seen it, so when you told me you were gonna go watch it, I was like, okay, let me try and find stream it, and then to stream it, and then I realized that it's actually in theaters in the U.S. too. So that I kind of wasn't really on pace of. But I heard good things from about Film Red. Everyone's saying to watch it, so maybe I'll try to watch it either in theaters or on a streaming service.
Yeah, once Hatim's caught up, maybe we can review it if there's enough stuff to talk about, which I think there is. But anyway, the chapter starts off with Zoro and Brook on the Sunny, sorry, and they basically told Caribou to shove off.
Yeah,
Where do you think Caribou's going now? Like,
we honestly, it's possible he just gets captured. The Rob Lucci and them are coming. I don't think Caribou will be a big problem for them to deal with. But he's more like a side, somewhat gag character, so he might figure out some way just be there.
like honestly, in this chapter, Caribou's the most important character because he knows more than anyone about Pluton, Poseidon, and he could be the key to getting the final war going. So it's really interesting to see where he goes and who he spills the beans to.
Well,
That's what I think. He's really
that would
crucial.
be a yeah. I mean, that would be an interesting development. I just want to side note that if Oda does that, that would be a good homage to actual history. For example, World War I started from the shooting of Archduke Ferdinand, and a lot of different countries thought it was somebody else. The Austrians thought it was they thought it was Austria and other countries. So for Caribou, a random basically side character that we don't really care too much about, to basically take the first shot and start fire would be very interesting.
For sure. And again, it's pretty badass that there's like a man with 200 million berry bounty on the ship, and Zoro and Brook are just like nonchalant about it at this point. Just speaks volumes about how far the Straw Hats have gone. Just
Yeah,
crazy to me. That's what I really enjoy.
he doesn't stand a chance against Zoro or even Brook maybe.
No chance. Brook's gonna freeze him, and that's
Yeah,
the end of Caribou. That's all you need to know. Uh, yeah, the rest of the chapter is just them interacting with the Vegapunks. The biggest interesting thing was the fight with the Seraphim Jimbe. They do refer to him as Shark towards the end of the chapter, so instead of calling him Seraphim Jimbe, I'm just going to call him Shark, just so everyone knows. This is really interesting development because of many things, right? First of all, we finally see Shark, which is Seraphim Jinbei, and from the size comparison, he looks like he's already Jinbei's size, and he's a child, right? So the potential for the Seraphim to not just Shark, but like the rest of the Seraphim to be powerful as hell is right up there. Like the potential is crazy high, because just from the sheer size, they can be. I don't think they're going to grow to be giants, but again, Vegapunk in this chapter confirms that the Seraphim that we've seen so far are children, which the speculations were there. So they will grow to be adults in the near future. So imagine Jimbei, who's not the size of a giant, but size of like a big mom, maybe 8, 9 meters tall, and them just wreaking havoc. Uh, the other interesting part about Shark was that he has the swim fruit, paying homage to Senior Pink, and I don't know how to feel about this. I really hope they didn't off-screen Senior Pink's death, and they just replicated his paramecia. Just how Vegapunk kind of replicated the dragon fruit that Kaido had, the mythical zone. So I'm really hoping he found a way to do that. And that's such a OP fruit to give, not just Shark but even Jinbei, right? Like I think it might be worth the sacrifice of drowning in the water to be able to swim on land and manipulate land. He would kind of be like Earthbender from the Avatar, right? Like he could just manipulate the Earth. If Fishman Karate is using water particles in the ground, would the swim fruit mean you could use the ground itself to like attack, right? That's like he's basically an Earthbender, probably Metal Bender soon. It'll be really interesting to see where he goes with this. So, like, what do you think? This is just my mini rant so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting and kind of random point. Yeah, that would he be able to use like Earthman karate like instead of Fishman? Like it's a Earthman karate instead. That's a good point. I don't know if Oda will try to make it that complicated because I think he already knows Fishman karate, and I feel like he'll start becoming very overpowered. They're already very strong, and like you said, we don't know how they'll be as adults because they're clearly just kids, and they mentioned that they're still growing. So I don't know if they'll become like giants, like you said, but maybe at least adult size. They're deadly enough. The other point I want to mention about Senior Pink, it would be a very dark turn of events if we end up seeing a flashback where the government actually ends up killing Senior Pink to get his devil fruit.
We need to see Senior Pink and Jim and Frankie in a bar talking about old times.
I highly doubt that they killed Senior Pink only just because, not because Oda would want to not kill him, but because the government doesn't know how to get the devil fruits right when they're out. That's the main thing with Blackbeard, that he knows how to get the devil fruits immediately after someone dies, like he did with Whitebeard. So I highly doubt that they killed him. It's probably an artificial fruit. Most likely.
No, to counter that, like, the government knows how to do it. Caesar did it on Punk Hazard when he killed that big slime monster. There was an apple next to it. So the experiments were to see if the devil fruit would transfer to the nearest fruit, right? And that happened with the big poison jelly monster. So I think they have an idea and they have been researching it. So I think it's not out of the box if they could actually do it with, Senior Pink or any devil fruit. I think they have the know-how. Blackbeard knows how to eat two devil fruits, and we don't know how he extracts it. Like when he took a Whitebeard's fruit, he did it behind like a curtain. So like we don't exactly know how he did it.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole other topic too. But like just looking at that, yeah, like how are they giving all these Seraphim devil fruits? And I know Morge mentioned a good point is that is each Seraphim, how much of the personality of the original person do they have? Like, well, he mentioned this, that will a Mihawk Seraphim refuse a devil fruit because Mihawk in real life doesn't have a devil fruit and clearly probably doesn't even want one. So how does that work is a very interesting thing to think about.
That's gonna be yeah. Because will each Seraphim just get a devil fruit? Because if you think about it that way, the I guess the Jinbei Seraphim should have said no to the Devil Fruit as well. Because why would he give up the ability to swim in water, right?
Yeah,
So I don't think Mihawk's Seraphim has that much of Mihawk's will in him to be able to reject it. This chapter also confirmed that uh, the Seraphim have the memories and the will of the Shishibukai already. So even though he might have some memories, if you just force feed them or like sedate them and just give them the devil fruit, they can't do anything about it, right? And Vegapunk probably has a kill switch for these guys, so it is possible.
maybe we that's another development we still need to see. Does he have like a kill switch or anything like that? Um, One thing though, also I do want to mention as a side note, I found it very interesting that Robin and Sanji were like, even if you are Jinbei, will still like what you did is still like worthy of dying, or like will still kill you or whatever exactly. Like, just I'm just gonna. He said even if you are Jim, it's death for you. Even if you are Jinbei, I think that's like kind of like a little subtle hint that they don't really care about Jinbei as much yet compared to the other Strats. Because if it was like a Nami Seraphim, or a Zoro Seraphim, or maybe an Usopp one, would they be just as free and willing to say that? I don't know. Like if they were that conflicted.
One, the Straw Hats are racist, and two, Sanji has hated Jinbei ever since Arlong Park, and we saw him like kind of beefing him with Jinbei at Fishman Island when Jinbei was, you know, telling Nami and everyone the truth about what he did.
I don't even remember that.
So,
I might need to look back at that chapter to show Sanji's racism.
Sanji already hates him. No, we know that Zoro's already racist, right? So like, it's all within the Straw Hats. It's within the realm of possibility that they're all racist.
Well, if they really are racist and racism is a big theme in One Piece, I would be very interested in seeing them kind of overcome it. I mean, obviously Jinbei's still part of the crew, and they just had one adventure with him compared to everyone else. But it's just a very curious thing that, oh, even if you are Jinbei, like it's still death for you. Like if it was the Usopp one or anyone else, would they feel that same way? Would they be like more like Bonnie, where she's kind of conflicted about fighting Kuma because it looks like her dad? Would they still have that relationship? I wonder, and if will that change later on towards the end? And I hope so. Just because racism is a big topic in One Piece.
Everything's a big topic in One Piece, too.
Yeah, I mean everything is, yeah, but that
There's-
is a very important topic.
Yeah, I mean they gave it like half of the show was just building up anti-Fishman and all that stuff, but the chapter ends with a banger, and the unfortunate part about this chapter is there's a lot to discuss, but at the same time, we're gonna get the answers within the next 3 or 4 chapters. So like there isn't much to like theorize at this point. We're just waiting for the lore dump, right?
Yeah,
So the chapter ends with us seeing the scrapyard and how Shaka tells the crew that Egghead and his inventions are of the past but not the future. And this is something I've told you about in the previous episodes, where I had heard from someone that the theory, the big theory. I'll just say it again. The big theory was that what if the ancient kingdom was like technological as hell and is super advanced, and the government had to shut it down because uh, it would just overpower them. No, sorry. What am I saying? The theory was that the government is stifling technological advancement in One Piece because of the threat that would impose on the world government and their superiority throughout the world, right? And we're seeing that with them killing Vegapunk. So that theory was basically tying back the fact that the ancient kingdom was super advanced, and the world government happened to beat them by chance. So this is what I think this is gonna allude to towards the next few chapters. Like, I think I called it. Did I not? I don't know.
I honestly wouldn't really remember, but I'll say that one thing that it's true that holding back on all the theories that we know for sure that there's a reference. It's a reference to the ancient kingdom. We just need to find out why Vegapunk actually knows, how Vegapunk knows about it. How did he land on Egghead Island? What reason did he choose that island? Like, for what? Why did he just develop there? How is he able to be there when the government wants to erase all the information about the ancient kingdom? So it'll be a very interesting development going forward, and hopefully we find some details next chapter. And yeah, you're right. It's probably gonna be like a 1 or 2, maybe 3 chapter lore dump.
Another thing I noticed in the scrapyard was that there was the big mech that's just lying down in rust. Looks a lot like OARS.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of lore around OARS, the continent puller, throughout One Piece. Ever since the Marineford, the Paramount War, even in Thriller Bark, there's just been a lot of lore, and we
yeah,
have yet to see how significant of a role he plays in the story. Even the skull on Onigashima looked like OARS, right?
yeah.
So we just don't know how important he will be towards the end of the story, right?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting just to see. Maybe giants are more advanced than we think that they are. That we're assuming that they are, just because we've only gotten a few notice of giants like in the story. And also, I'll say that it. One thing I know, I think Joy Boy or Morge mentioned that maybe even the ores that Luffy fought wasn't even the real legendary ores, and that the one in Onigashima head was the actual like ores of legend, because that head was even bigger. So there could be like there's a giant even bigger, very big size ores that's actually the legendary one. Those are just like ores junior or whatever.
To be a continent puller, you have to be that size of a giant, right? To like physically manipulate land, and that's what people are theorizing Wano is right now. Just a bunch of islands that OARS a continent puller puzzled on top of the random lake created by the walls. Uh, yeah, that's something super interesting that I noticed. The first thing I thought of when I saw the scrapyard was that that's OARS, and then I started thinking about the giant straw hat in Marijua. Is that Joy Boy's? If Joy Boy was like the size of OARS but diluted, you know how the in One Piece the lineage kind of messes around. Like giants can have kids with normal humans and have like a mini-sized giant, like a Big Mom or like Kaido. Like, so that's what or Joy Boy could have been. We don't know, but so many
Yeah,
things to theorize about. It's just it's the possibilities are endless.
yeah. One thing I think we can end it with this thought, maybe, unless there's something else you want to add. But I always find it very interesting when we have stories about giants, especially giants that are really, really big. Like, you would think, you would assume that the bigger a person is, the bigger the structures of their living, their homes, their workplaces, and everything have to be. So it's just a very interesting thought that, like, if there's really someone who's as big as Oars, like, how do you function in the world? Because the whole world is much smaller than you. So I'm interesting to see that world building too. Like, how does the society function, or is there just not that many of them?
That's a good question to end it off on. If anyone has the answer to that, please leave it down in the comments. Uh, Again, super short chapter. There isn't much to theorize or discuss. I just like geeking over One Piece with Hatem, so I really was looking forward to this episode. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, there's a
I
lot.
don't
There's
have
a lot
anything
of
else to
just
say. Yeah,
there's just a lot of
there's just
development that we know that's coming.
a lot of waiting. But
Yeah,
by the end of the year, we're gonna find out so much. It's gonna be insane. Yeah, this has been it from your host Hussein and your co-host Hatem. Signing out. Peace.